there, Mar here again. This week, well, on Saturday, the 25th of January, I've been on HRT for 1 full year. It's been an amazing year of personal discovery, so many astounding changes, and with freedom from the nearly constant depression I've suffered since I was 13. I wish I knew back then how well this would have resolved my issues with my body, corrected the corruption I felt, and allowed me to slowly transform into a more ideal body. Now, I've been told regularly that I am reacting very quickly to all of this, and that I'm very good at feeling any slight changes that the hormones have been causing for me. I was able to feel the effects of estradiol right away within just a few hours of injecting myself the first time, and I also strongly felt when it was wearing off. I did so much research before I started that I was actually teaching my therapist and my doctor things, or rather that's what they told me. I wanted to front load as much as my transition as possible to get results fast. I decided to go with injections and go through what's called monotherapy, which means that I was only on estradiol and not on an anti-androgen like spironolactone. I don't actually know how to pronounce that one. The estradiol alone is generally enough to lower your testosterone levels when you have high spike levels, like after injection or using a gel application or something similar. So I really wish I got blood work done before I started to see what my initial levels were like. Well, I can't really do that now. It's a little late. When I got started, I was taught by a nurse on how to inject myself incorrectly, and was losing about 1 milligram of my dose each time because of that. I am listing the adjusted amounts here. I was supposed to start at 4 milligrams every 7 days, but due to the 1 milligram loss, I was actually starting at 3 milligrams of estradiol valerate, also known as EV, every 7 days. But on days 6 and 7, I could feel the corruption slowly coming back, and I felt out of sorts and like my depression was coming back. So at 1 month, I switched to 3 milligrams every 5 days. This was apparently too strong for me, and after my second blood test at the 5.5 month mark, my estrogen level was over 400 pg per ml, which my doctor at the time considered to be too high. So I was lowered to just half of my dose, down to just 2 milligrams every 5 days. Remember, I was doing it wrong. So this actually made me go down to about a third of what I was on, down to 1 milligram every 5 days. And within just a few days of this, my mind and my body freaked the hell out. I was not content to wait for a full month for the next blood test, so I heard someone mention that I might be injecting myself wrong, so I watched this awesome video. I'll put a link to the actual video in the description, but this shows you how to do it correctly, and I was able to correct my dose, and that helped a lot. But because of the freak out that I had, and I talked to my doctor about it, my doctor okayed that me starting on progesterone at around the 6-month mark, so I also added 100 milligrams of progesterone every day. Also, again, due to the research I've been doing, I decided to take it rectally, and I've had pretty good results with it. Now, most people say that taking progesterone is going to help your breasts grow a bunch or give you a strong sex drive. It didn't give me either of those. Instead, it made my mood feel incredible most of the time and gave me another tier of hunger, which I'll talk about in another episode because that's a weird one. Okay, at 10.5 months, I switched gender health doctors, and my dose got increased back up to 3 milligrams every 5 days. So now you know my full dosage history up until now. I've had no surgery so far, though I am going to be getting my first surgery next week, an orchiectomy, which I'm very excited for. I have gone through many, many sessions of laser hair removal all over parts of my body, and I've also had over 42 hours of electrolysis done so far. So I'm going to just... Give me a second here. Okay, so I'm just going to list a number of things that I've gone through this year and the changes I've seen. This is probably going to be too much information, but whatever. It's probably helpful for people to see what is possible, what HRT can do to somebody who's a bit sensitive like I am. Oh, and this might be too much information for some people, as I'm going to talk about body parts changing that some people might be a bit squeamish about, but I'm going to leave out some of the more personal details. I am going to include photos of myself with clothes on and all that at approximately the time period I'm talking about, so you can see how I looked at the time. For reference, I have to remember it's over here. This is how I looked before I started HRT back in January of 2024. And I was losing a lot of weight through all of this, at least all the way until June, which was the 5-month point. So my changes started immediately, the day after I took my first injection, when my nipples seemed to nearly double in size, and that corruption feel I talked about and I've been living with since puberty, it just completely vanished, literally overnight. On the 3rd day, my chest started hurting, like I'd done a bunch of pec exercises. By the 9th day, my nipples started hurting from everything, and I started having to wear padded bras to give them a small amount of protection from everything, including just my shirts. On the 11th day, my libido completely vanished. It hasn't been found since then. So it's been almost a year. On the 12th day, I had noticeable breast buds. On the 16th day, my body odor had completely vanished, and I had almost no scent at all. I still wore deodorant, of course. At 3 weeks in, I started noticing I was getting hungry faster, and I had to fight against that because I was still trying to lose weight. At 4 weeks, I noticed my belly, back, legs, and arms all started feeling a lot softer, and they were getting more sensitive. And just before the 1-month mark in late February, I was starting to notice how cold it felt, even when it was only 40 degrees Fahrenheit outside. That used to just be t-shirt weather. Yeah, it doesn't work that way anymore. So after the 1-month mark, my inner monologue changed to my new voice, which was really cool because it was just completely random. I gained a more feminine body odor, and I noticed that my emotions were starting to get a lot stronger. I went out into public in girl mode for the first time, to a restaurant and a grocery store at 5 weeks in, on March 1st, and it was wonderful. A few days later, I noticed that the hairs on my head were starting to get more curly, at least the ones I still had. Although, I was slowly getting fuzz back on the top. I'll talk about that in another episode. At a month and a half, my breasts started hurting a lot more, like it needed to be worse, but they also started clearly growing. By the end of the 2nd month, I had reached 34B cup size for my bras for them to not be too big and squeeze. I didn't know it at the time, but March 24th was almost at the 2-month mark, was the very first day I started full timing and just being a woman absolutely everywhere, all of the time. Now the changes slowed down from here, but there were still a lot. At 2.5 months, I started noticing my skin was getting so sensitive that the arm braces I wear while working and sleeping were causing severe reactions in my skin. It ended up getting so bad, and I'm sorry, but there's going to be a gross picture here. I had to contact a dermatologist about this because I didn't know what to do to deal with this. I had to change my arm braces to special ones. These are my sleeping ones. I changed my arm braces to ones that don't touch my wrists, or the backs of my hands. These just look like little cuffs that go on my wrists. And then when I go to sleep, because I have wrist tendonitis, I wear these special hypoallergenic kind of arm braces. I had to switch them. The ones I had previously had a really rough material on the inside. And not only that, but I was also given a prescription for a steroidal healing cream, and I had to start using moisturizer on my hands regularly. I can't have hot water or much of anything touch the backs of my hands anymore because my skin can start breaking out, and it's painful. And this is greatly frustrating for anybody who wants to hold or shake my hand, since it's now actually painful for me if they do it wrong. It can get really painful very quickly. Kind of the most annoying part of my transition. Oh well, compared to everything else, I'll deal with it. At just over 3 months in, I had my name legally changed to Mara Sanera Olmston here in King County. And throughout that month, I had to change my name in so many places, many of which took a long time to get resolved. At 4 months in, I hit my initial weight goal of 150 pounds. I had lost a total of 51 pounds. I was at 201 when I started back in December of 2023. Then on June 2nd, I came out to my entire family at my niece's wedding reception with her permission, of course, by going there in a dress. And I think I looked pretty nice, actually. When I got home later that day, I also made a video and put it up on my YouTube channel to come out to all of my subscribers on my other YouTube channel, the Zolerla channel. I lost about 4% of my subscribers right away, but I've since recovered. Not that a lot of people care about me talking about retro games and playing battled adventure games. That's aside from the point. This is where I was 100% socially out and have just been Mara ever since. Around this time, I also changed my business registration, bank accounts, and got my new photo ID with my new name and gender on it. On July 8th, about 5.5 months in, my depersonalization completely vanished, as I discussed in episode 3. At 6 months in, just after starting progesterone, I started to feel simply amazing, almost always cheerful, bouncy, and a lot more optimistic. Also, my emotions got even stronger, and I didn't even know that was possible. Whew. It takes some getting used to, let's just say that. At 7 months in, someone actually asked me for my phone number at a grocery store. I keep wondering, what would have happened if I gave it to him? What do other trans girls do if a random guy sends you a dick pic? Anyways, do you send a picture of yours back? I mean, what's the correct etiquette here? Is there a correct etiquette? I don't know. Anyways, at 8 months on October 2nd, my old personality just completely vanished unexpectedly. I felt completely alone in my own head again, except with my all-new personality that was only slowly coming to grips with her new life. I couldn't even see the old me in photos of me anymore, not even without makeup on. And in fact, photos that I see of me before this date versus after this date, to me, they look like a different person. At almost the 9-month point, I could no longer wear the 34B cup bras I was wearing because they were causing me pain and making it really hard to breathe. I'd upgrade to 34Cs to be able to feel right again. And that's most of the changes up to this point. I've already mentioned a few other subtle changes that I've experienced, and ever since, yes, there's a bunch of little things that have changed, but nothing really worth bringing up here. I look forward to any further changes as well, though, since there are a lot of other small things going on. We all change at different rates and have such different experiences through this process. I hope it was interesting to hear the path I went on, even if it won't or doesn't match your own. In any case, talk to you all later. Bye.